Elevated basics. No, we're not just talking wardrobe essentials today. We are talking about one of the most pervasive style trends that we're enjoying for fall 2023 and into winter. And I actually predict for another year or two, you're going to want to pay attention to this one, ladies, because this is such a great style trend, especially for mature women. And let's talk about what that style trend is, why it is such a great one for mature women, why it can be challenging. I'm going to share with you some outfits that I've put together with this elevated basics style trend. And then I'm going to share with you a checklist of 6 things you're going to want to pay attention to, make sure you have, make sure you're doing if you want to participate in this trend. Actually, elevated basics to me is more of a style trend than a fashion trend. You know, fashion trends to me are things like this year denim skirts are trending, this year wedges are trending. So it's like a particular fashion that it's on trend. But this is like a style aesthetic that is on trend, kind of like the coastal grandmother thing, right? Now maybe that's still kind of going. I don't think that's going anywhere. The whole Barbie con, that's a style aesthetic. Elevated basics is also a style aesthetic. In fact, it's my preferred style aesthetic. It's really part of the way I try to dress on a normal basis. I've been doing this probably for several years now. First of all, what is this style trend? It is simply wearing those basic pieces in your wardrobe so that they are center stage and that you don't really have anything else going on in your outfit that upstages your basics. It also, of course, means that those basics are indeed elevated, and we're going to talk about what that means and what it doesn't mean in just a minute. And it means that those outfits that you put together with your elevated basics are indeed fairly simple and pared back. We've been seeing this trend towards minimalism in our outfits and in color choices for several years now. And so I think we've just kind of naturally drifted this way to where we are also this year really grabbing hold of wearability, right? That's another trend we talked about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, whenever that was, about how we really want things to feel good as well as look good. We want them to get us through the day from morning to night. We want them to feel so comfortable and be very functional, but also look really sharp. So that really all kind of feeds in together. So just remember that trends don't happen in a vacuum. They all kind of piggyback off of each other. And this is a great trend to wear elevated basics as a mature woman because for several reasons. Many of us women over 50, we love the classics to begin with. We love things that are already very classic, very timeless, and a little bit elegant, maybe. You know, we kind of were raised, we grew up in times when we were still getting dressed up for things. So there's just that, most of us, not all of us maybe, but a lot of us, I'd say, have a penchant for things that are a little bit elegant, a little bit refined. And we also, many of us love quality, because we grew up with good quality. Maybe even your mother was a seamstress or you're a seamstress. I sew, my mom sews, so I know what quality is in a garment and I kind of know what to look for, whereas I think probably a lot of people in the younger generations don't. So those are all factors that kind of play into this elevated basics style trends. Another reason that's a great trend for us seasoned ladies is that honestly, as we get older, quality matters more as far as our appearance. I hear it over and over from stylists and from other great sources that I read as I research for this YouTube channel that quality really matters more as we get older. And so therefore, this is a great style aesthetic for us to take hold of. Another reason that this is a great style trend to participate in is because it's a lot of it is about looking effortless, having that kind of an effortless vibe, like you just put on a few simple things in your closet and you didn't like overwork it, you didn't overthink it, you don't have on too much, you're not trying to make a lot of things work together. So it doesn't look like you're trying too hard. And one of the things that can really age us or make us look a little clownish even, or make us look, just like I said, older than we really are, is if we try too hard. If we look like, especially if we look like we tried too hard. Now, take it from me, to look effortlessly stylish, you actually have to put in a little effort. So we're not talking about getting lazy here with our style choices. We're just talking about trying to achieve a look that looks effortlessly stylish, and this elevated basics style trend definitely feeds into that. But here are some of the problems with this elevated basics style trend. First of all, it means that if you're wearing fewer things because you're just wearing the basics, right? We're talking about looking great in just a button-up shirt and a pair of jeans and a pair of loafers, or a white sweater with some light wash jeans and some light wash, or some beige flats, or maybe just a turtleneck sweater and some nice drapey wool slacks and some ballet flats. So we're talking about really pared back, just those basic pieces in your wardrobe. And when you do that, that means that there is going to be more riding on those pieces. So the less you have to work with, the more those pieces count. And so that puts a lot of pressure on. Those things need to be truly elevated and special. Another challenge you're going to run into is that with elevated basics, that does mean that the quality of those garments does need to be high. We're not saying you have to spend lots of money to participate in elevated basics. I don't think that's true at all. But it does mean that the quality, it just needs to be good. And it's going to be noticeable if it's not. Another challenge is that details matter. You see, when we're talking about elevated basics, we're not talking about things that are necessarily fancy. We're not talking about, they don't have to be silk blouses. They don't have to be, like I said, Veronica Beard blazers. We're not talking about fancy. Doesn't have to be a lot of detailing on them, but there needs to be something that sets them apart. And usually it needs to be a small detail with big impact. So just to give you an example, today I am wearing a t-shirt, and I'll show it to you here. It is just a short sleeve, I guess kind of an elbow sleeve length t-shirt, but it's ribbed. So it's a ribbed fabric. It's nice and stretchy, nice and boingy stretchy. It has a collar around the edges and around the neck and around the sleeves. It's got a wide trim, and so just that wide trim and that ribbed fabric really sets it apart. I have lots of tank tops that are just like this too, because this particular tank top really took off this summer and this spring, and I accumulated them, and I'm still wearing them into the fall. It's such a smart fall wardrobe piece to hang on to those tank tops. They do look elevated. They look just a little special, just a little bit better than that run-of-the-mill tank top that we wore for years that just kind of hung on our body. Little details matter. Little details are going to matter in like the color of thread that's used in a garment. So for instance, here I'm wearing a pair of jeans, and these jeans, I wouldn't have probably noticed it except when I was trying them on. The associate at Talbot's pointed out that this particular pair of dark wash jeans from Talbot's has dark navy thread instead of that contrasting gold or brown thread that we find on most jeans. So it really keeps these jeans a little bit more elevated. They're just a little darker, have that nice dark wash, and they just look a little special. So it's things like that that are going to set these basics apart. So you really have to kind of develop an eye, or at least a little know-how, a little knowledge about what are the things that are setting things apart. A few of the things that set basics apart can be things like a neckline, maybe using a square neckline instead of just a crew neck or an oval neckline. It could be maybe just a detail, like instead of just wearing a plain basic white t-shirt, instead wear a Henley t-shirt, one with a few snaps at the top. Or instead of wearing just your basic sweatshirt, instead wearing a sweatshirt with a Johnny collar. Just something special that's a little bit different that sets that item apart. So we're going to have to develop an eye for those little details with big impact. Another challenge if you want to participate in the elevated basics style trend is that fit matters. Now, fit matters all the time. It really does, ladies. If we want to look stylish, we want to look pulled together and really look great in our outfits, we need garments that fit us well. And that may mean that you need to become really good friends with a tailor, or shop at a store that offers complimentary tailoring, or at least they have it there on site so that you can get tailoring done before you bring it home. There are just so many things that a tailor can do to make your clothes fit better, and fit is really going to matter, especially with this particular trend. Another challenge we're going to run into is that when we're just wearing those basics, really, as kind of going along with fit mattering, knowing your body shape, your proportions really matters. It's really going to matter that you get it right as far as creating your most ideal proportions. So for instance, if you're just wearing a pair of loose fit wool trousers and a cashmere sweater, well, that's great, but you'll need to know how to create your best proportions, so you'll know whether or not you need to tuck that sweater in a little bit, or maybe you need a cropped length sweater that you can leave hanging out, and that way it disguises that tummy, but it still gives you the good proportions. And fortunately, we are in a time when they are making tops of all different lengths. They're not just all long anymore. You can find cropped length tops, kind of more like mid-length tops, and longer length tops. And of course, you can take things even as simple as a t-shirt to a tailor, once again, and have it hem, so that if you don't like doing a front tuck or a full tuck, I would suggest having your shirts, your tops, hemmed up to that length that's going to give you the right proportions, especially if you want to participate in the elevated basics style trend. Now here's a challenge that we're all going to face, because we tend to think, oh, basics, I have those, so all I have to do is go to my closet and wear them. But the question is, are those basics in good shape? You know, our basics tend to be the things that we wear a lot. Look for things like soiled armpits on your white shirts, you know, makeup stains, other stains on your shirts. Make sure they're not worn out and stretchy. Like here, I'm showing one of my favorite white t-shirts. Bought this t-shirt a couple of years ago. I love it because it has that interesting detailing around the neckline. So a nice little detail, but look how it's gotten all stretched out. It just kind of hangs on me. The whole t-shirt just kind of hangs on me. This t-shirt has got to go. This is not an elevated basic. This is a very unelevated basic. It's a worn and tired basic. Another challenge is that styling becomes even more important. A while ago I mentioned tucking in a top, doing a little front tuck. You know, things like adding a belt or knowing when to not add a belt, maybe adding that third piece, what shoes to wear with this. Those things become even more important when we're paring our outfit back to just the basics. And then a final challenge, I think, is that there truly is a fine line between elevated basics and boring. Because an elevated basics outfit really is going to be minimalist. It's going to be kind of streamlined. You're going to have maybe less jewelry, less accessorizing, but at the same time, you don't want that outfit to be boring. A lot of times our basics are also neutrals, and I'm going to share with you in just a minute that we're not talking about all neutrals. You can certainly wear basics, elevated basics that are colors. But a lot of times they are neutrals, and that can create sort of a boring look if we're not careful. So there are some ways to get around that, and one of them I'm just going to tell you is texture. When you can add some texture to an outfit by combining elevated basics that maybe have different textures, that's a great way to keep that outfit from being boring. Truthfully, basics are different in everyone's wardrobe. They are the hinge pieces. They are the pieces you have to create outfits at all. Unless you're doing a one and done with a dress, you're going to have some basics. You're going to need some things like white t-shirts or white button-down shirts, maybe a great pair of black pants, a good pair of loafers, a nice handbag in a neutral. But not everybody is going to need all of those things. It really depends on your style aesthetic. For instance, even in, let's say your style aesthetic is kind of outdoorsy and laid back and real natural girl kind of, style aesthetic, even you have some basics. Maybe you need a couple of just basic t-shirts in some neutral colors. You probably want a couple of pairs of jeans or pairs of pants that are, they're just that kind of all-purpose type of pant. Maybe that pair of great Sneakers is a part of your essentials, your basics. So everybody needs basics. They're just going to depend on your style aesthetic. But of course, we're talking elevated basics. So we're talking about pieces that are functional. So they are basic in their functionality, but they're not basic in their form. We're talking about elevated basics. So these are those basic pieces that I just named, but elevated a little bit so that in their form, they look a little special. But the way to create an elevated basic is to really be careful. You're not adding a lot of embellishment. You're not adding all those extras that take away the functionality of that piece. Instead, you're adding just that little something special that makes it look just a little different, just a little bit elevated. So let's talk through just a few of the outfits that I've put together. You've already seen a few of them. Here I'm showing just some great black pants. These are Talbot's Hampshire ankle pants. These are just my black ones. They come in other colors. I have some red ones. But if I'm talking about an elevated basics outfit, of course, I would go for my black Hampshire ankle pants. I've worn those black pants with this elevated white t-shirt, just a little bit finer looking than, just any other t-shirt in my closet. And I've worn it with my Veronica Beard camel blazer. So this is a very functional, very, versatile blazer in my closet. I've worn it with some little slingback flats. Once again, very versatile, but notice they have a nice little buckle on the front. These were not expensive flats, but just that little detail makes them so different. So when we're talking elevated basics, we're talking a little something special, but nothing fancy or overly ornamented. Now, you don't have to be wearing dressy clothes to do an elevated basics either. You can certainly work it with your jeans. And they don't have to be just those dark wash jeans, which I absolutely love dark wash jeans. They are an elevated basic. But here I'm wearing some gray jeans. They're ankle length. They have that raw edge, but they're still elevated because they are very on trend. They're very classic in color, a nice straight leg and just a gray wash there. But this time, because I'm trying to show you a different style aesthetic, as far as maybe a little bit more athleisure oriented, I've worn a Zella blazer. It has a little hoodie on it, so it's made of that nice stretchy fabric. This is an athleisure jacket. This is not a dressy blazer. So you can find blazers of all different price points and all different kinds that still look nicely basic, but a little elevated like this one. Now here's a look where I did wear dark wash straight leg jeans. These are those jeans I was telling you about earlier that have that dark thread, that navy thread in them. So they do definitely look very elevated. And a silk blouse from Lily Silk. Of course, it's elevated because it's silk, but also just those nice stripes. It's just a really classic cut. And I wore the outfit with my nice little ankle boots from Ally. By the way, I mentioned these boots last week and they still weren't available yet, but they came out yesterday. They are available now. These boots feel so good. They are beautiful and so comfortable. And you can use code KBOOTS for, I think it's $50 off of these boots. Let's quickly talk about accessorizing this look. You'll notice I kept it really pared back. I didn't even add a belt. In fact, actually, I did add a belt. I added my necklace, a little chunky chain braid necklace, and some really simple gold earrings, and then I took the belt off. One of the things you're going to want to do occasionally when you're trying to create an elevated basics look is take something off that you put on. Just step back a little bit from the outfit that you originally created, and so that's what I did here when I took the belt off. Now again, elevated basics come in all forms and fashions. So in this outfit, I'm actually wearing yoga pants, but these are a little elevated yoga pants. I did get them at Athleta, where they create really nice athletic type pants, athletic, athleisure pants. So these are really nice. They have a seam down the middle of them, the front, seam down the middle of the front. So that just elevates them a little bit, gives them that extra little something without a lot of ornamentation or anything like that. I've worn that black tank underneath and I've added a blazer. Now the blazer is probably a little bit beyond an elevated basic. It's a plaid blazer. It's one of those oversized blazers. But I wanted you to see that you can combine trends. You can wear that trending oversized plaid blazer and those trending chunky sneakers with some elevated basics and still create a really nice look. And then here's that outfit I mentioned with the denim skirt. Once again, I'm wearing a trending denim skirt, but I've paired the denim skirt with a crew neck cashmere sweater, very elevated basic. It's a cropped length sweater, so it works really nicely with the skirt, and some beige ballet flats, nice little suede ballet flats. So once again, kept this outfit really basic, really pared back, really elevated though, especially with those textures like suede and cashmere. Now here I'm showing you what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing my kind of a light wash, cropped length or straight leg jean from Talbot's that I got last spring. They're still available. They're in a lighter wash, wearing that white t-shirt. I just wanted to show you this because I want you to understand that everything doesn't have to be dark. You don't have to do this all with dark wash jeans or black jeans. Things don't have to be fancy to be elevated. So even though these jeans, once again, have that raw edge hem, they're light wash, they still can be a little elevated, especially if you add more elevated pieces to the outfit, like the rib t-shirt and let's say this cashmere cardigan, really pretty, just basic color, really kept my jewelry minimal with just a little, necklace and some gold hoop earrings. And once again, those same slingback flats. Now here I've done the same thing with a wool, I think it's a wool blend coat, really nice little jacket. This is a fairly pricey little jacket. I got it in the Nordstrom anniversary sale, so it's probably gone up a whole lot since then. But what I wanted to tell you here is that it's really smart to just invest in a few pieces that can really impact these elevated basic outfits. So I certainly don't think you need to spend a lot of money to work this style trend this year, but a few well-chosen pieces in your wardrobe really could make it so much easier and so much more fun to create these elevated basics outfits. Now here's what I'm actually wearing right now is those same jeans, same t-shirt, same slingback flats, but with this blazer, this is a beautiful red berry colored blazer that I recently got from Talbot's. It's a wool blazer, a Shetland wool blazer. So yes, it is colored, and I wanted you to see some color. I need to throw some color in there. It's a bright, pretty red, but I would still consider this an elevated basic because it is such a classic. There's no ornamentation going on, very simple 2-button blazer, just really easy on the eyes. And that is another thing I would say that's essential about these outfits is you want to create outfits that are really easy on the eyes. So eyes are not going everywhere trying to figure out this outfit. You're not trying to really take in a lot of patterns, a lot of colors, a lot of contrast. It's very easy on the eyes. All right, quickly, let me give you 6 things that you're going to want to do if you would like to participate in this trend. So I'm just going to read them off to you. First of all, you need to make sure that you have some great basics in your closet. They do need to be a little elevated and they need to be in good shape. The next thing you may want to do is invest this year in a few well-chosen elevated basics. This is just a great time to do that because with this trend going on, there are a lot of them out there. Once again, you don't have to shop pricey stores, pricey brands. They're going to set the bar. Let's face it, they're going to set the bar, but you can find these things at secondhand stores. Right now, we are in a time when people are really focusing on slow fashion and they're trying to make good use of their clothing. So they are taking things to secondhand stores, consignment stores, selling them on things like Poshmark to give their pieces further life. So it's a great time to buy those elevated basics in those places. You'll also want to make sure you have some elevated basic accessories, things like belts, handbags, and shoes that can help you work these outfits. These need to be things that are simple, pared back, but impactful. And then next, I think you need to spend some time as soon as you get things together or you start, working through your wardrobe for this season, spend a little time putting together some basic outfits using the principles we talked about today, keeping things simple, easy on the eyes with your elevated basics from your wardrobe. Fifth, make sure you accessorize these outfits. Remember, there's a fine line between basic and boring, but practice the principle of Coco Chanel, which says accessorize and then take one thing off. You really want to pare back, even if that means leaving off your earrings that day or leaving off a necklace altogether, or like I did, taking off that belt. take something off, pare back. You're going to kind of feel at first, I think, like, oh, I maybe think something's missing. I'm not sure I'm all done. But remember, we're going really basic here, really pared back. And then my sixth tip is to keep your hair and makeup also elevated but basic. So maybe let something like a pop of a bold lip or some pretty red fingernail polish carry the day and keep your makeup a little bit more natural. It doesn't mean you're not wearing any, it just means a little bit more natural looking. Maybe keep your hair kind of natural. You know, try not to fuss up with your makeup and your hair, and then you kind of spoil a look, so you want to keep that balance there too. Let me know in the comments below if you like this style trend of elevated basics, how you feel about it, how you're going to work it. And in the description box below, I'm going to provide you links to some of my favorite places to shop for elevated basics. I'll give you some details about whether or not you're going to find t-shirts there, or blazers, or jackets, or jeans, or those sorts of things. And just be sure to check that description box below. It's always full of great information and links. Thank you so much for stopping in today, ladies. I hope you enjoyed this video. You got something out of it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up on your way out. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll do that before you leave. I'll see you again next Wednesday. Bye.